Welcome to Everyday Black Men, a podcast for authentic black thoughts. I am Riker, and while sadly I'm not joined by Reed and Armstead, I created this episode that I'm calling Riker's Corner to tide you over until the next full episode of the podcast. In addition, follow us on Twitter at EVYD BlackMen, Instagram at Everyday Black Men, and Facebook at the Everyday Black Men Facebook page. Today I am joined by several special guests. I'd like to first start with Boots, who's joining us again. Boots, got anything you want to say to the people?
Hi, people.
I'm also joined by the Rider.
Vroom vroom.
Vroom vroom. I need more than that. I need more. And last but not least, we have Fortunate.
What up, everybody? You know me. Don't
Just
know nothing,
kidding.
don't do nothing.
We also have Stylish. Want to say something to the people?
Yeah, what's so special about all these guests? Especially me. I'm just kidding. No, you guys are great. You guys are
He's terrible. But we have a special edition of the Everyday Black Men podcast. In this edition, we're going to talk about Father's Day, what fathers mean to us. Are black fathers under attack? And where are the black fathers at? It's a really important thing. Yes, we have one black father with us here, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm going to clap over here.
Yes,
over here to the side of the mic.
It is not an easy task.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't sound like an easy task. You know, as someone who wants to be a father one day, I definitely understand that you go through many hurdles, many obstacles. Raising children is essentially like playing a game of poker that you can't lose and having somebody else be dealt all the good cards.
I don't know. It feels like trying to tie your shoes while somebody is slamming your same foot into the door. It's just a horrible situation, but you love all the moments at the same time. So, I don't know. It's a lot to it, man. I don't want to be the one to tell you how to be a father because you just can't. You're gonna figure it out your own way. That's not what I'm here to do at all. But it's a lot of challenges to it, man. It's a lot of challenges to it. And I hope most fathers, well, I guess we're about to discuss that. Where are all the fathers? Do y'all feel like they all disappeared? Do you feel like people are...
Actually, the ironic part is that they're always around. It's just that you don't see them, and that's because they're not advertised. But they are around. Black fathers are around. Fathers are around, and the funny part is, like, black men have a stereotype of not being around, but it's in all forms, white, Hispanic, Mexican. There are deadbeat dads everywhere. It's just that the one that is always stereotyped is the black man, because it's like, oh, black man, prison pipe system, go to prison, and the father's not there, then deadbeat dad. And it's not the case.
Right.
It's not.
No,
was it the case at one point in time, though? Was it the case at one point in time? Was that the case?
I mean,
no.
Do you want to go into it? No, let's go straight into it.
Because, I mean, okay, this is what I'm saying. Because I feel the whole thing that it's not being advertised, and I do think black fathers are around, but it all came from something. To deny where it came from would be doing ourselves a disservice as to what actually happened to us. Because why were the black fathers missing? Because they couldn't get the jobs, they couldn't get it, they're robbed, they're doing all kind of shit, getting them locked up, killed, shot, hung.
Ultimately,
all
right,
that
it was
shit.
a prison system.
Well, no. Y'all are missing a historically accurate point. So let's take this back. Slavery ends. So once you got your freedom, you didn't really get your freedom. What you were allowed to do is you're allowed to pick up your shit and hopefully move somewhere else. Now, if you're a black person, do you really think that you had means to secure land and a shelter for your family?
You had nothing.
You had shit. So what you
And
do
you're still
is
being chased by white folks.
yeah, there were still white people who were still trying to put niggas in chains. So they did this via a few different vehicles. The first, they said that if you're out after a certain time, you're going to jail. I think we all know what jail is. 13th Amendment, as much as everybody's like, oh, 13th Amendment. No, it didn't end slavery. 13th Amendment just said slavery can only happen if you're enchained. And you know what America likes to do? Put niggas in chains. So that's what they would do. They would put out curfews for you. The second thing is that they started that man in the house rule bullshit. So if you are like having a family or something like that, it's like, oh, you want to actually provide for your family? Well, now the white folks ain't gonna give you no jobs because you ain't our boy no more. So if we did let you have a shack or a hut, or you just managed to piece some shit together using some land that nobody was claiming right now, cool. but you can't get any government assistance unless there's no man in the house. So the father has to go, which runs back to the first thing I said, which is, oh, now you're out after dark, boy, you're going to jail. And then third, but not least, they would put niggas in jail by doing curfews. That's something that we don't like to talk about.
Was that a part of the black codes? You heard? I think it's called the black codes.
Well, that was a part of that was what kind of led to the black codes. Okay. Was that you had the certain things where it's like you can't be at a certain place, you can't have looked at a white woman, you can't have been in the wrong place of time at the wrong whatever. A lot of those ice cream cone bullshit laws.
That was pre-Jim Crow.
Well, no, it's the first version of Jim Crow. Jim Crow is a revitalized version of the black codes and all this other stuff that happened.
So this creates back and got their shit together. Like, no, let's do this prejudice thing the right way.
No, you're right. You're right. That's exactly what happened. So you layer this together, and now it's the early 1920s, 1930s, and so you begin having this situation where not all black families are without fathers, but 25% are. And then the more the welfare system and the more state assistance comes into play, the fewer and fewer black men you begin seeing in the household. And then you get to the 60s, 70s, free love.
But you also have to take into account what does it mean by having a parent there? Because you can have a parent there financially, you can have them there part-time, and you can have them there full-time. Now, those numbers are drastically different. I probably would agree with you, 80% of fathers are there. But let's be honest, if you're going to do the job, you should do it what? Right. Exactly. So how many of those fathers are doing it right, are being there with their kids, showing them and raising them and showing them how to be good people? And that percentage, I would think, changed. Now, that I actually don't know.
Nobody has numbers on that because that goes across parents in general.
Because
there's plenty of women who never left the house but been checked out mentally for years.
You're right about that.
You're right about that. Kids are doing because they can't handle it anymore, being that they are the only parent and they go through points where they just don't give a damn what the kid is doing.
I don't think that's necessarily the case either when it comes to that, but that's a whole different topic.
What you mean? You think that?
I think they checked out as soon as they had that baby.
Well, I mean, that's true too.
That's
true too.
But every parent that I've seen that's a single mom that's busting their behind when the child is 9, 12, 13, they're in it for the long haul. Now, in the beginning, when they checked out, you could tell that they've got darn.
Well, I'm saying you could be in it for the long haul, but also realize what you can handle for the long haul. I can handle making sure I got a roof over your head until you graduate from this goddamn house. I can't handle getting into your beefs that you got at school and trying to teach you how to do this. Like, there's a capacity as a human being. Everybody is different. It's not mother, father. It's this person, human being. What capacity can you handle? And everybody deals with it. So I don't think it's one person we can say black fathers or mothers or anything to say they're not there all the way. Everybody has their own capacity of what they can actually deal with. And it hits people differently, I'm telling you.
Well, no, you're right. It does hit people differently when it goes to what capacity you have for raising kids to a specific point, and whether or not the person that you're yoked with, whether they're moving it past that point, or they got, I can handle X, Y, Z, the, stuff that's going on at school, if you'll handle the internal discipline and getting those things taken care of. But going back to the black codes, I mean, that sets up a family structure where now we've got all this infighting. Like Jordan Peele's next movie, Us, is definitely going to center on a black family, a black relationship, a black whatever. I don't know how the horror movie aspect of that's going to be done, but I mean, he did Get Out, so this man's got 3 passes
I'm looking,
in the hood.
I'm definitely going to see that.
Definitely. But again, when it comes to fathers, if we set up this expectation for the last 100+ years that the fathers really aren't going to be there, it is so hard to find a father. And then especially if you've got someone who doesn't have kids that are yours, like that's a whole nother dynamic that we really don't talk about. So when we have these fathers that are MIA, I mean, are they MIA because they're dead? Because we don't like to talk about, the war on black men, because there's definitely a war on black women. We don't want to downplay that at all. But there is a huge war on black men and getting black men out of the household. Some would say to feminize black men. That one I think is debatable. But the bigger war is a war on black men and on making sure that either you're not here, you're in chains, or you're not able to provide for your family in the capacity that you should.
The biggest thing with the war would be the perception. where this whole, black men aren't good fathers or they don't stick around is still being perpetuated, although the numbers I'm pretty sure changed a long time ago. If it was being, the data was being compiled on every family or whatever, there would be a large uptick in the amount of black fathers that stick around. But that data and the perception that's out there, they don't want that to change. That's the first fight against the black man, because you know why? Perception is everything.
Perception is reality.
Perception is reality. So let's keep that stigma out there. We're still going to be killing them in the streets and taking them down for bullshit and pulling them over. But I'm also going to make sure that most women in the world and most other cultures believe that black men ain't shit when it comes to their kids as well, which is also going to be a detriment to anyone trying to either be in a relationship with them or help them or look at them a certain way. That perception is the first strike against. Well, not the first, but one of the main ones that continues.
No, it is the
it's the first. Because
perception is the first thing that you go to. Everything else is second.
Yeah, because the perception films the stereotype. Because whether we like to say it or not, when you walk into a room with someone, if you look at that guy, you see he's Hispanic, or that woman's, she's Asian, or this other person over here, he's Caucasian. You have an idea about them, right, especially depending on what they're wearing, what they kind of look like. You're not going to look at the Spanish guy who's got tattoos all over his face and a 6'9" or 8 or some other bullshit, or MS-13 tattooed on the side of his head, the same way you're going to look at the same Spanish guy, but now he's got on a turtleneck, he's got some glasses on. Yeah. Like, perception is it. But also, by looking at the Spanish guy, you don't think that he speaks Spanish. Like, a lot of people do not speak their native language, or maybe they speak something completely different. But you'll never know that, because initially, you're going to look at that person and think, all right, Hispanic guy probably speaks Spanish. Or you might even do like I just did. That was a stereotype. I called him Spanish. Right. He could be several other different things.
That's true, too.
And he's not. But when you see black men, when we go and we look at, interracial dating or things like that, and we're not going to get into the whole black men don't date black women thing, because that's a whole other can of worms. But
yeah, I won't touch that.
One of the biggest things is that when you see a black man as a woman, you're looking at him and you're judging, okay, is this guy someone who I could have kids with? And is this someone who I think will be a provider? And you have that negative stereotype that may be, depending on what your upbringing is like or who you've dated, something that goes in.
That destroys the family structure before it even started, because the woman already doesn't trust the black man based off of preconceived notions from perceptions that's been going out forever. So before the relationship even started or the kids are born, you already don't trust that he's going to do the right thing. You already believe he's going to run or not live up to what you deem a father should be from the get-go, because of this perception that's been going on forever.
But let's ask, Boots, what do you feel on this? What do you think?
As the only woman in the room, I'm thinking back to my single days. I don't think I've ever met a man and thought, what kind of a father would he be, just from the first look.
Well, when you get into that point in a relationship, you're thinking about it.
Yes, in a relationship, yes. But not, I see you and I'm thinking he was going to be a great father or not, because, like, I remember interacting with people who probably would be dressed a certain way. Maybe because my background, my family members, a lot of them are contractors and home builders. So they look really grungy and dirty, but I know they have money. So maybe that changed my perception. But I don't associate a suit and tie with money. Right. I know a lot of grungy people who do some, more manual labor, who bring home over $100,000 a year. Yes.
Okay.
But that goes back to my background. So I can only speak to my own background.
And your background is.
Well, that's just. I'm not even gonna say, like, it just goes back to what my parents did.
It's not a typical.
It's not
American
a typical situation.
background.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not a typical American background.
I want to get.
He wants to know how you came to have this point of view.
This
like, did you grow up?
Like I said, my pretty much all of my uncles have physically demanding jobs, but they have their own businesses, and we all
in America,
both in America and abroad.
Okay, so you have more of a
worldview. It's a worldview.
I have a
my question
is, do you